Yo, 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 it's Mr. Knight right here again. And we're going to be going over our final exam review right here, okay? So I have 8th hour joining me today. Say hi, 8th hour.
Hi. No.
Okay. They're super stoked to see you guys that are absent. We're going to go over the final exam review. We're going to actually start at this header right here. Now, a couple things about this final exam review. Towards the back, I have the key, so you can check your work and check your answers. The other thing I have, too, is for each header, it'll tell you what to do, and then it'll say Week 8, Thursday folder, Week 6, Wednesday, Thursday folders. That's just where you can go in Schoology to find those older video lessons in case you need help on this stuff. Aiden, go sit down. Okay. So we're gonna start with number 5 and number 7. Okay. Now the reason we're starting here is because all of this solving equations is getting the variable by itself. So when you're doing two-step equations, spit your gum out, Aiden. When you're doing two-step equations, two things you got to do. First thing you got to do is undo, and I'm going to put it in quotes, undo addition, subtraction first. Okay? And then after that, the second thing is you'll undo multiplication, division, and you should be good to go from there. So let's see what this looks like with some examples. Let's look at number 5. So I have 2p plus 2 equals negative 22. Okay? I'm going to undo my addition, subtraction first. So that means if I'm getting p by itself, I need to undo the plus 2. So I need to do the opposite. I have to subtract 2 from both sides. Okay? And then I end up getting 2p equals negative 24. And then finally I have to undo multiplication, division. So to undo the times 2, I divide by 2 to both sides. So I get p equals negative 12. So my answer is C. All right? It doesn't matter either what side of the equal sign your variable's on. For number 7, for example, the variable's on the right-hand side. Again, we're just trying to undo the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So if I have 10 equals 7 plus x divided by 2, again, I want to undo addition, subtraction first. So let me ask 8th hour. What should I undo first, the positive 7 or the divide by 2?
Positive 7.
So what should I do to both sides?
Subtract 7.
Subtract 7 to both sides. And if I do that, I end up getting 3 equals x divided by 2. How do I undo divide by 2?
Multiply by 2.
To both sides. So if I do that, I'm a speed demon.
Whoa.
So by doing that, these 2's cancel, and I'm left with 6 equals x. So my answer is A. Okay?
Wait, please do not move it down yet.
And I'm not going to move it down yet. I'm just going to move it up just a little bit. Okay, we're good. So that's the essence of solving equations, is getting the variable by itself. If you're able to do that, you're good to go. All right? This final is going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, things you've seen before, of course. So, for example, if we look at number 9 and number 10, both of them deal with distribution. What does distribute mean, guys?
To give out. I don't know.
Means more to give out. And when we say like give out, like if we look at this number 9 right here, we can give out the 8 by giving it to each of these guys. Now, when I say give it out, I mean specifically we're going to multiply. So if you want to write this off to the side as a rule, this is kind of like this. If I have a number on the outside of something like this, parentheses, I can distribute the A to the B plus C. And when I mean distribute, I mean multiply. And so we're going to get A times B plus A times C. Like that. We have done it before. So we're going to use it again for number 9. So if I want to distribute this, I have 8 times negative 8, which is negative 64. And then I have 8 times A, which is plus 8A, and that equals negative 16. From here, it's just like we did right up above here. We're going to undo addition, subtraction, then undo multiplication, division. So on this side, by my variable, I'm going to undo the minus 64 first. So I'm going to add 64 to both sides. So I get 8a equals negative 16 plus 64 is 48. And then finally, I undo the times 8 by dividing by 8. And that's right. So a equals 6. So that's D. Okay. And that's kind of key to note about distribution. And kind of here is the difference. So one thing I've noticed what students kind of make an error on is they'll see something like this. It'll be like 8 times, I don't know, 2 plus x. But then they'd see something that might be like this, 8 plus 2 plus x, like this. Which one am I able to distribute the 8 in? The top one or the bottom one? The top one, yeah. So if you see it's separated by addition, I cannot distribute. So I can't distribute this one. This one I can distribute. And that's kind of the difference. Okay? Let's move down below. We're going to look at multi-step equations, which is not only distribution, it's also combining like terms. So again, let's recall what a like term is. So if I have something like 2x, what would be a like term? Like, give me an example. Yeah, what would be a like term of 2x? 4x would be one? 6x? What about 8x squared? 8x squared? What about 4y? Why not, Taylor? Yeah, because it's a y. So that one doesn't count, right? That's not a like term. And actually, this isn't a like term either. They have the same variable, but they have different exponents. So they have to be the same variable, same exponent. So if we look at number 11, we have 3a plus 6 equals 1 plus 3a minus 5a. We have a variable on both sides of the equal sign. Not a big deal. Let's see if we can clean this up a bit. On the left-hand side, can I add those together? What's 3a plus 6 then? Ooh, are they like terms? I can't do that. What about the other side? So I have 1 plus 3a minus 5a. Can I combine any of those? Yeah, so I do 3 minus 5. I get negative 2a. So it's 1 minus 2a. Now, I have a variable on both sides of the equal sign. Okay? Now, here's what we could do. We can combine them, but I got to kind of undo them to get them to the other side of the equal sign. So, for example, if I want to undo the minus 2a, I can add 2a. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So if I add it here, I have to add it here as well. Either way, you'll end up getting what a is if you do it like this, okay? So the 2a's will cancel. I'll be left with 5a plus 6 equals 1. And there we go. It's back to another two-step equation. Undo the addition first, then undo the multiplication. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And then I'm going to undo the times 5 by dividing both sides by 5. So a is going to equal negative 1. So you should get letter D. Okay. Let's look at number 14, because now it's not just a variable on each side. Now we have parentheses right here. Let me ask you guys, can I distribute? Yeah, I can distribute this 4 to the 6v minus 2. Okay? So my advice to you is, the first thing I would do when dealing with these is distribute if possible. And then after you distribute, then I would see combine like terms. Okay? So if I do this, I end up getting 4 times 6v. What is 4 times 6v? 24v. 24v. And 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then that's equal to 40 plus 8v. Again, we are left with a v on both sides. So again, I can do what I did for number 11. I can undo one of them on one side and then do it to the other. So for example, I'm going to undo the 8v here by subtracting 8v. What I do to one side, I have to do the other. Basically, you can switch them around, yeah. So you get 16v minus 8 equals 40. Oh, you could do it like that too if you want. If you want to be healthy. Okay? So we're going to now undo the subtraction. Okay, we're back. All right. So I have 16v minus 8 equals 40. Again, undo the subtraction addition. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And so 16v equals 48. And then I have to undo the times 16. So when I divide both sides by 16, I get v equals 3. I get b for that guy. All right, go ahead and flip your page, 8th hour. We're going to move forward. Okay. Now we're getting into some of the more recent stuff. This is what was on your most recent test. So for 15 through 18, it says, use the slope formula to find the slope between the 2 points. That slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Those x's and y's, those refer to coordinates of your points. So for example, if I look at number 15, I can label this x1, y1. I can label this point x2, y2. And now I'm just going to plug some stuff in. So I'm going to get up top, I'm going to get y2 minus y1, which is negative 16 minus 8. x2, I get 5 minus x1, which is 11. And the biggest thing is take your time with this. Use a calculator if you don't feel comfortable doing this. You'll have plenty of time to do your final. 20 questions. I think you can do 20 questions in an hour and a half. So take your time. Okay? So negative 16 minus 8, you should get negative 24. 5 minus 11, you should get negative 6. And what's a negative divided by a negative, guys?
Positive.
Positive. And so we have 24 divided by 6. That's 4. So our answer is B. All right, cool. So that is 15 through 18. Let's look at 19 through 22. All right, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given a graph. So looking at the graph, we're going to come up with the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. And the equation of the line is y equals mx plus b. Okay, your b is your y-intercept. So you can find it given a point 0, b on your graph. And your m, you could find, it's your slope, you can find it as rise over run. And then you could just put it together. So if I look at number 19, what is my y-intercept, 8th hour? It's a positive 2, yeah. 2's on the y-axis, so I know it's going to be plus 2. So I know that it can't be b. All right, now my slope. I'm not given points on the graph. I can make my own points. That's fine. Well, I know there's one at 0, 2. I know there's one at the y-intercept. And again, I'm just going to look for an intersection between my line and like a corner of my grid. So maybe like, I don't know, right here. That want to work. So what is my rise over run from the bottom point to the top point?
2 over 2.
Which reduces to what?
1.
Yeah, which reduces to 1. So I have 1 for my slope. Yeah, so I have y equals 1x plus 2. And Blair, you're totally right. It would be D because if I have a 1 right here, I really don't need to write it. I can write it as y equals x plus 2. And that'll give me D. Okay. So a lot of that is using your y-intercept, using your slope, rise over run, putting it all together. Okay. Go ahead and flip the page. All right, 23 through 26. All right, now we are writing the equation of a line given a point So we're given a point x comma y, and we're given a slope m. Okay? So if I look at 23, again, I'm writing the equation of a line. I'm going to be writing a y equals mx plus b. So if I write this as y equals mx plus b, I know what my m is right off the bat for number 23. It's just my slope. It's whatever my slope is, my slope m. So I'm going to replace m with 3. Now I just need to find my b. Okay? Well, to find my b, my y-intercept, that's where my point, negative 1, 0, comes into play. Because this is an xy point, so I can plug it in for x, y, and solve for b. If I do this, I get 0 equals 3 times negative 1 plus b. And from there, it's not too bad. 0 equals negative 3 plus b. So if I add 3 to both sides, 3 is going to equal b. It is frickin' 3. And yes, I'll slow down. So y is going to equal 3x, that didn't change, plus b, which is now 3. So the equation of my line is b, and that was a gross burp. That is going on the video. Enjoy that burp. It was either Taylor Blake, Elizabeth Wills, or Emily Hoyt.
Emily Hoyt, do not. No, it was not.
It was one of those 3 girls, which I can't say for certain.
Emily, bro. Come on, you actually
It was one of them.
Elizabeth Wills. Is
Yeah.
that how you say my name? No, it's not.
Is it Willis?
It's Willis, not Wills. Hey,
It's Wills now.
Elizabeth Wills. What are you doing?
All right.
I can't remember.
Let's go ahead. Let's move on to 27 through 30. Again, 27 through 30, you're still getting the equation of the line. That has not changed. You're still getting a y equals mx plus b. However, you're only given 2 points now. So you're given an x1, y1, and an x2, y2. And we're not given the slope. So we actually have to find our m and we have to find our b. So let's take a look at number 30. All right, I have these 2 points. I'm going to call this first point x1, y1, the second point x2, y2. And let's go ahead, let's calculate the slope. So I want to use my slope formula to do this. So I'm going to do m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to plug some stuff in, man. So on the top, I'm going to get negative 1 minus 5. On the bottom, I'm getting 0 minus 3. So I get negative 6 over negative 3. I'll rip. And negative 6 divided by negative 3 gives me a positive 2. That's my slope right off the bat. Okay? That's my slope. So that means so far my equation is y equals 2x plus b. And that's really nice. That's really nice when students aren't talking and interrupting the video. They think it's the other person, it's all of them. And that's nice because it tells me that my answer right off the bat's got to be C. Without even doing anything else. That's the only one with a slope of 2. However, you're not always given, your answer just by finding your slope. Sometimes you got to find your B. Again, you can plug in your x comma y, so your 0 comma negative 1 in for x and y and solve for b. Or you can recognize that anything that has 0 comma b like this, anything of that form, that's your y-intercept right there. So our y-intercept, without doing any calculations, is y equals 2x minus 1. And, well, that is what our answer told us it was. So it actually ended up working out nicely. Okay. So there's a couple tricks you could do with these. So if you see a 0 comma something, that's your y-intercept right off the bat. You don't have to do any of the b calculations. And finally, the last topic. This is writing slope-intercept form of each line. So we're given something that looks like this, and we're trying to turn it into y equals mx plus b. 2 steps of doing this. First step, you're going to subtract your x term from both sides. right off the bat. What am I referring to when I say the x term for number 31, 8th hour?
3x.
The 3x, absolutely. So I want to subtract both sides by my x term. So I'm going to subtract both sides by 3x. And so I'm left with 2y equals, again, I can't do negative 6 minus 3x. They're not like terms, so I have to write them next to each other. And we're almost done. The second step is divide everything. Divide everything by what's in front of y.
Everything. Is that what that says?
What? So in this case, when we divide everything by what's in front of y, I gotta divide everything by 2.
I just have one question. What does that say after the
Everything.
It says everything.
My mom says that. Everything.
Your mom's a cool woman. Okay?
Hell yeah.
So we're left with y equals negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And then, again, we can't divide these, so I can leave it as a fraction and put the x next to it. Almost looks like y equals mx plus b. I can rearrange these to make it y equals negative 3 halves x minus 3. And so our answer is D. And that is it. That is all the major topics that you're going to run into. Again, if you get stuck, go into your Schoology, go to that folder, watch that video lesson, skip over it, skip over the parts where I talk a lot, which is a lot of it, and get to the gist. Won't offend me. This is Mr. Knight, the final video lesson of the semester.
Yo, 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 it's
Say
your
bye,
boy.
8th hour.